Have you ever built a simple dock for your kid, only to be told it's an act of war against the neighborhood? What if the woman screaming about community standards was secretly terrified of losing her tiny throne? And what if the shy new guy they all pitted had been quietly sharpening the perfect legal knife to gut their entire system? The afternoon sun danced across Serenity Shores Lake like it always did, turning the water into liquid gold. I was teaching my 7-year-old son Max how to cast his line from our new dock when her voice sliced through the piece like a rusty knife. "Mister, little eyesore of yours is trespassing on HOA common property. You have 48 hours to remove it or we'll do it for you, and bill you double." Vanessa Whitaker, president of the Serenity Shores Homeowners Association, stood on my grass like she owned it. Floral blouse, pearl necklace, clipboard clutched like the 10 Commandments. She looked every bit the concerned neighbor if concerned neighbors enjoyed ruining Saturdays with a side of condescension. I felt my wife Emily tense up from her lounge chair. Max's small hand tightened around the fishing rod. "Daddy, is the mean lady taking our dock?" The neighbors across the way suddenly found their lawns fascinating. Classic van move, public execution for maximum shame. This wasn't about the dock. 6 months earlier we'd moved into Serenity Shores. Chasing the dream after years of deployments left me craving calm. I'm Ryan Hayes, ex-Army engineer, the guy everyone whispered about as that angry vet who doesn't smile at block parties. Van had started those rumors the day we arrived, claiming I disrupted harmony because I skipped her mandatory welcome potluck. I'd built the dock with Max as my little assistant, good cedar, stainless hardware, sunk posts deep. I followed every ridiculous rule, submitted plans, got the architectural committee's rubber stamp approval, even measured the property line twice. It was sturdy, level, in hours. Our first months were idyllic until the recycling bin incident. Van left a fluorescent pink violation notice taped to the door. Bins visible before 6 p.m. were visual assaults on aesthetic standards. I moved it. Then came the grass height patrol. She literally carried a ruler like a scepter, and the color-coded flower ban. "Only approved beige tones, Mr. Hayes." Cause emotional distress to the community. Now here she was smirking. "Hayes, picking." She pivoted like a battleship and marched off, leaving righteous indignation in her wake. Max's face crumpled. I knelt, hands on his shoulders. "No one is touching our dock, buddy." Inside, the old soldier in me woke up. She'd fired the first shot. Paperwork. I let the deadline pass in deliberate silence. No calls. Instead, I turned the spare bedroom into command central. Project V thick binder, color-coded tabs. Monday morning brought the first salvo. A thick envelope screaming violation of Article 4, Section 2. Unauthorized structure on common area. Fines, $150 doubling every 7 days. Attached was a smug note in red ink. "For the good of property values." I punched the letter, filed it, and drafted a calm response with my survey and approval letter. Certified mail, return receipt. Her reply email CC'd to the entire board. "The survey is irrelevant. The previous approval was issued in error. Fine now $300. Not removed in 14 days. She doubled down, retroactively rescinding her own committee's okay. The board stayed silent. Complicit little sheep. I knew then reasoning was useless. Ding. The sterile clubhouse smelled of stale coffee and fear. 20 residents sat like hostages. Van banged her little gavel, voice booming procedural nonsense. When public comments opened, I stood. Ryan Hayes, 142 Lakeview Drive. "I'd like to address the dock violation." Her eyes narrowed. "Mr. Hayes, appeals process." "I did," I said evenly. "You called my county-filed survey irrelevant. How exactly does an HOA bylaw override a legal deed?" A murmur rippled. Crimson. "Our governing documents supersede everything." Our lawyer confirmed the entire lakefront is common area. We protect property values for everyone. Could we see that legal opinion? I asked politely. We are not required to share counsel's advice. You're out of order. Gavel slam. One board member flinched. I sat down, but the seed was planted. As the meeting broke, old Mr. Henderson from down the street lingered. You be careful, son. For years. First one I've seen push back. Back home I logged the meeting in Project V. The binder grew thicker. Stubborn homeowner. She had no idea she provoked a man who turned dry paperwork into weapons. Neighbors started reaching out in whispers. One mom confessed Van fined her $200 for a plastic playset, not in approved earth tones. An elderly widow cried, recounting how Van called her rose garden a visual blight and made her rip it out. Each story was the same. Isolated victims, escalating fines, quiet surrender. Divide and conquer. I started collecting sworn affidavits. Project V now had 2 binders, one legal, one human. The community was waking up. She escalated with a glossy brochure announcing the Community Beautification Initiative, a fancy pavilion exactly where my dock stood. Funded by a $500 special assessment per household. Demolition scheduled if the vote passed. She'd framed it perfectly. Vote yes for progress or be the selfish guy blocking joy. My response letter went to every home. Calm timeline of facts, polite request for their legal proof. The neighborhood chat exploded. Questions flew. Replies only made it worse. The special meeting was standing room only. Van tried rushing the vote. Show us the lawyer letter. What if all our surveys are wrong? She sputtered. This has been vetted. Mr. Hayes spreads misinformation. Vote. 72 to 68 in her favor. Slim win, but half the room now hated her. She smirked at me. 9 a.m. Enjoy your last weekend. She'd taken the bait. The weekend dragged with coiled tension. Emily was my rock. Just see it through. Max asked nervously. Are the bad people still coming? I hugged him. Sometimes you stand up for what's yours. I prepared 2 document packets. One for the demolition crew, one for Van. Called the sheriff for a civil standby. Monday dawned crisp. On the dock, feet dangling, packets in hand. The roar of the backhoe shattered the quiet. Van emerged in full cartoon glory. Yellow hard hat over perfect hair, orange vest straining. Neighbors poured out, phones ready. Sheriff cruiser arrived right on time. Van strutted down the lawn. Get it done. The foreman approached. I stood calmly. Before you step closer, read this. I handed the packet. His face went from annoyed to baffled at the certified deed. Ma'am, he yelled uphill, you need to see this. Van marched over, snatched the papers, scanned them. Confusion. Rage. I'm the president. Do your job. The deputies stepped in. County filed deed, Mr. Hayes owns this land. The world stopped. Purple. Impossible. The HOA owns the lakefront. I walked up, voice low and steady. The HOA controlled the common area. What you never bothered to check is that the developer never actually owned the lake. It stayed with the original Miller family farm from 1926. And last month the last heir transferred it all to me. The water, the shoreline, the mud at the bottom, everything. Your boat ramp? Trespassing. Every dock you approved? Trespassing. Every boat on this lake? Trespassing. Collective gasp from the crowd. Grass. No. The foreman backed away fast. You're on your own. The backhoe reversed, leaving muddy tracks as the only evidence of her failed invasion. Phones captured every second of her meltdown. The video spread like wildfire. Pure chaos. The next day my lawyer Marcus sent a devastating notice to the HOA's insurance carrier. Pattern of harassment, gross negligence, personal liability for board members. Insurers demanded records. An emergency meeting was called by petition. The clubhouse overflowed. Finished. The board apologized weekly, rescinded my fines. Too late. Victims stood with their affidavits. An apology doesn't give my kids their playset back. Doesn't repay the money I wasted shortening my flagpole. Mr. For full board recall. Unanimous. Without a word. Her for sale sign went up a month later. I could have become the new tyrant. Granted every homeowner a perpetual non-exclusive easement for lake use. The HOA pays my LLC $1 per year. Legal consideration only. One more clause. Access contingent on good faith operation. Break the rules like Van did, and the lake access vanishes in 90 days. The carrot and the stick forever. The final evening of that summer I sat on the dock watching Max teach Emily to skip stones. Their laughter echoed across the water. New HOA President Tom strolled down with beers. What you did wasn't just saving your dock. You gave everyone their voice back. I thought about the binder, the dusty records office, the trip to meet the heir, the hard hat showdown. Van wanted a fight over wood planks. She never understood I fought for the principle that home should be sanctuary, not a battlefield for petty tyrants. In the end, bullies like Vanessa thrive on silence and fear. But patience, paperwork, and a little legal genius can topple even the mightiest HOA queen. Stand up smartly, document everything, and remember, sometimes the quietest neighbor holds the biggest surprise. Never let petty tyrants steal your peace.